Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have an interesting episode for you guys here. But before we get into it, make sure you go and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, ESPN is the worldwide leader in sports. We just said this just yesterday. We produced a show about it. And they do a lot of things very well that allow them to maintain their position at the top of the sports media landscape. They do a lot of things very well. However, there is one negative thing that ESPN is known for, and that is ESPN has this habit of trotting out analysts that give some of the most ridiculous takes in all of sports. You don't have to go any further than think about some of their ESPN rankings. Whenever they put out their ESPN rankings, everybody is usually left sitting there, scratching their head like, okay, but wait a minute. What are we listening? What am I reading right now? It got so bad at one point that Kobe Bryant, when he was asked about the analysts at ESPN and the job that they do, he said, I've always known that they're a bunch of idiots. So they're known for putting out some terrible, it almost seems like they troll you at times with some of their rankings. And now we have yet another example. And then we had an example, to give you guys an example of something one of their analysts said, was the time when Bobby Marks came out and said on ESPN, after Stephen Curry had won his fourth NBA championship, Bobby Marks came out there and said he now believes that Stephen Curry is the second greatest player of all time behind Michael Jordan after he won his fourth championship. And people were like, what? That's what they said. And now we have another example of them doing exactly the same thing again with the latest comments from Kendrick Perkins. Now, as y'all know, the Lakers last season had a very difficult, they had a very bad season, right? And they struggled on the defensive side of the floor. If you paid attention to the Lakers and you watch Lakers games, you'll see clearly scoring was not their problem. Their biggest problem was stopping other people from scoring. That was their number one issue. So when they went out there and signed Patrick Beverley, when they got him, we said it on the channels, on the community section, is right there. I was one of the people that was very, very optimistic about that trade because the Lakers needed to get better on defense. And I think Patrick Beverley was going to help them in that area. And because of his energy, it was something that's going to energize a lot of the Laker players this season, because a lot of times they seem to be in a malaise. A lot of times they just seem to be out of it. And Patrick Beverley has this kind of infectious energy in a good way that galvanizes his teammates. So I already had that feeling about him. But when Kendrick Perkins was asked to give a prognostication, hope I used that word right, about what he thinks his team could be on the defensive side of the floor next season, he went out there and said something that I absolutely could not believe. So what we want to do is play the audio of Kendrick Perkins giving his insight on what he thinks the Lakers' backcourt will be next season. And then we're going to come back and react to it. So take a listen to that here.
Everybody keep talking about the offensive end, right? And I get it, right? The space, and is Russell Westbrook going to be able to knock down corner three-point shots? Is he going to be able to buy into playing off the ball? I get all that. But I'm listening to what Darvin Ham has already challenged Russell Westbrook on, and that's being a defensive guy having one of the best defensive seasons in his career. Do y'all realize this? Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, is the most athletic point guard to ever play the game of basketball. You know how many all-defensive teams Russell Westbrook has made in his NBA career? 0. So if I'm Russell Westbrook, I'm having the mindset going into this season that my goal should be to make an all-defensive team. And if Russell Westbrook has that mindset, which I think he has to, because he has to show the rest of the world that he's willing to take a lesser role, that you can put him on the team that's going to contend for a title because he could be an asset and not a liability. If he buys in along with Patrick Beverley brings to the table, yes, they can be the best defensive backcourt in the NBA.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a perfect example of how you set up fans for disappointment. Some people will hear what Kendrick Perkins just said and be like, yeah, we may end up having the best defensive backcourt out there, yo. Yeah. Some people will believe that because he said it. Well, he's on TV, so he must be saying something smart. Otherwise, he wouldn't be on TV. And I'm like, Why would you even say something like that? Why would you even say something? First of all, for as great as Patrick Beverley, or as elite, as Patrick Beverley is as a defender, Patrick Beverley's only made 3 All-NBA defensive teams in his career. He made his first All-NBA defensive team in 2017. I think it was with the Houston Rockets. And the second team, the last time he made it, was in the year 2020. That was the last time he made it the defense. Now, I'm not saying that to say that he's still not an elite defender, because he absolutely is. I watched Patrick Beverley in that third round against the Phoenix Suns when the Clippers were in the Western Conference Finals. And I saw him give Devin Booker fits. And Devin Booker had a height and weight advantage on Patrick Beverley, and he was being stifled at various times in that series. So I'm not one of those people that has no clue about who Patrick Beverley is. But the best defensive backcourt in the NBA? What? Okay, so I'm gonna list some backcourts, and I want you to tell me if Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverley could be better than them, because he mentioned Russell Westbrook, and he said Russell Westbrook had never made, think about this, an All-NBA defensive team. So what would make you think that all of a sudden, at the age of 33, 34, he'll be 34 in November, all of a sudden he's going to turn into this All-NBA defender? What would make you think that? Well, because he wants to do it. Well, you think other players don't want to do it? The question is, does he have the ability to do it? Does he really want to do it? So that's the first thing. Let me read off a bunch of duos out there, backcourt duos, and you tell me if you think Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverley gonna be better than them. Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown. You think Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverley gonna be better than Marcus Smart? Marcus Smart was the defensive player of the year last year. Did you watch any Boston Celtics games in the playoffs? Did you see Jaylen Brown play defense? They're not going to be better than them. That's number one. Chris Paul, who's made all defensive teams. Mikal Bridges, you think they're going to be better than that backcourt? I don't think so. John Wall, who has made a good amount of defensive teams, and Paul George, you think they're going to be better than them? That duo? I don't think so. I think Paul George gives them too much of a premium. I think the premium Paul George gives them, the versatility of his height, his wingspan, his agility, his lateral quickness, his size, I think that premium is greater than the premium that Patrick Beverley gives you, period, end of story. I think they'll be a better defensive duo. Drew Holiday and Wesley Matthews. If you listen to the way Kendrick Perkins was talking about, they talking like as if they got Drew Holiday up in there. They didn't get Drew Holiday. They got Pat, but he's not Drew Holiday. I don't think he's going to be better. I don't think they're going to be better than any of those duos. And this is what's going to happen this season. You're going to have a few analysts out there overhyping up things, jumping out the window, and then you're going to have some NBA fans running to put on their parachutes to jump out the window with them. And then when disappointment strikes, everybody's going to be sitting there trying to pick up the pieces. I already said I think the Lakers are going to be a playoff team this season. I think they're going to be in the second tier, the bottom, for either the fifth to eighth seed. They're going to be within that mix. I just think the top teams: Memphis Grizzlies, Clippers, Warriors, Phoenix Suns. The Denver Nuggets. These guys are going to be too good, right? So I think they're going to be a playoff team. But this type of stuff is what leads to expectations being unfulfilled and disappointment. So these are my thoughts and opinions. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we catch y'all on the next episode.